call the special meeting of the Parks Board to order.
Burns,
Present.
Miller,
Yes.
Sandy,
Here.
Schaefer. Yes. Schreight.
Here.
All right, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I will look for an approval of the agenda. Do we have any additions or anything on the agenda?
The only thing I was going to ask is if we want to do a public forum today for any items not on the agenda, or if this special meeting will not have a public forum.
I think everyone here will be speaking to something on the agenda, so I don't know that we need a public forum with the special meeting today.
Right, then I will move approval of the agenda as written.
I will
Oh, sorry, John.
that.
We have a motion by Paul and a second by Kara. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Motion passes. Moving on to unfinished business, 5A, consider pickleball agreement with the Lakes Area Pickleball Association.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. And since we were talking this a little bit earlier, the Pickleball Association, they had some verbiage regarding the insurance and that indemnification requirement from our attorney. So they are speaking with our attorney now. And to your point, I think that's going to be the only topic. If not, we're going to make a conference call to hammer out all their concerns. But for right now, they want us to put a hold on the agreement until those topics can be resolved.
Okay, so you're going to work on facilitating that?
Correct.
Okay. Do we have any other discussion on the pickleball subject? Kara?
Yeah, so I know I was not here for the last meeting, but just looking over the contract on 3A, it looks like I was just, the hours, it seems like they get like all of the primetime hours from 8 to 12. Is that every day? I don't know if that's really fair. Maybe you guys talked about that.
Yes, what we spoke about at the last one was that either if we're going to be going every day from 8 to 12 noon, that when the public come to want to play, they either give them a court or they allow them to rotate in. And the Pickleball Association was 100% good with that. The other option that was Monday through Friday, and the pickleball people say they would like the daily one, and they would either allow them to rotate in or give them their own court.
So, do you feel comfortable about, I guess I just, like, I know if I was just to like show up and there was a bunch of people playing, I might be a little bit nervous to be like, hey, can I play in one of those? And like, I feel like maybe we should at least have one open court, but. Yep.
I know we are, with this agreement, we're also sort of following what Ironton is doing, our neighbor, and they also allow that 8 a.m. to 12 noon time frame. And so we're sort of following that practice. But again, the big thing is that they're able to either rotate them in or give them a court to themselves. But whatever the council would like to do, because it is tabled, we can go back either way.
If I may, just to help Kara, Andrew, maybe you want to go first.
Maybe this will clarify what you're going to ask, Paul. I thought our motion was specifically Monday through Friday. So
Yeah, and I thought so. I was just going to say, for Kara's benefit, that was pretty much the largest topic of conversation. I think what most of the board members had an issue with was sole designated time for only members of LAPA. I think Mike was working with them on that, members of the public are welcome to attend. They want to use it as an opportunity to maybe get them involved in the association. I think we did also talk about the Monday through Friday aspect and leaving the weekends fully open to the public. And then also making sure that, either they leave a court open or they allow people to rotate in. And I'm open, I guess, to saying that, maybe we just require them to leave one court open just for the facts that you brought up, Kara, about the people being uncomfortable going in front of a bunch of people, not knowing who the ringleader is and maybe having an issue with trying to get court time during those hours.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that would just be nice. I mean, I don't even, not that everyone's shy, or not, I just, it might be kind of intimidating, and then it might make it so people don't want to play if there's not just an open court available. But, I don't know.
Yes, Mike?
Yes, Mr. President, I think that would be more than adequate compromise, is that we request them that they leave one court open. To your point, that, you know, when a beginner comes up, they see a group of people, they're a little shy, but if they can see one court at least open, that they're welcome to go join that one. So that would be, you know, we're hoping to get, and we are, by design, we're looking at 8 courts there. So that would only be, you know, 7 courts for the users. So I think that would be totally, you know, understandable that we compromise in that manner.
Yeah, maybe it's just like always, you know, court number 7 or 8 or whatever. Like maybe there's a way, if there's gonna be signage, like to say that this is always the one. Now, obviously, if there's like a tournament or something, sure, that makes sense that they'd need to use them all if that was scheduled, but just having that one available. And then also having them work in, I think it should be both options.
Very good.
I mean, if all of you guys think that, it's not just my decision.
Andrew, did you have anything else?
Yeah, I guess I generally agree, Kara, that like it should be a court open or Monday through Friday. I guess, Mike, I want you to feel like you're empowered to negotiate, but I'm a little frustrated that our motion was Monday through Friday, and then this doesn't reflect that. And I had to go back and watch the meeting to be like, I thought we talked about Monday through Friday, and there's no notes saying I had to negotiate with them to do one court open instead of Monday through Friday. So I'm just a little frustrated that feels like it got lost, and whether that did or not, I'm not sure, but feeling like we're kind of have to play detective about what we motioned and then how this turned into the draft is a little frustrating.
Right, and and sorry for that confusion. I thought that was the direction. If the Pickleball Association would like to go either way, if they do want to go every day, that they at least agree to that. So that's where I thought the direction was, so I apologize. Just trying to move it forward, but
Totally. Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Nope.
I think, yeah.
I guess to add to that, I think it should be Monday through Friday only, and they should have an open court, like an open court Monday through Friday, and then we, like, open courts everyone on the weekends. I don't think I still agree that you guys, Monday through Friday should be all that they get to, like, control, and then it should be open, if that's possible. I don't know, we want to have it, I guess I don't quite understand. I read through everything I could, but.
So, yeah, the only issue now is that you have a motion that was to present them with something, so I think you need to present them with what your motion was originally. I mean, you as a board can decide to take that motion back, but you have made a motion, that has been set forth from you. And so without action saying that you're no longer taking that motion, you need to readjust it that way. So either there needs to be a new motion for something different, or the original motion should be followed.
So I think the original motion is what Kara is saying, correct? That we specified, Andrew, you went and watched the tape. It was Monday through Friday.
It was definitely Monday through Friday. I didn't pay attention to whether it was also leaving a court. So maybe it would be good to set that motion
I think
today.
it read that we leave a court or they allow people to cycle in, correct?
Let's just clarify.
Yeah.
We can just make another clarifying motion, give staff direction on what we want.
Yeah.
I'll still be voting no, but we should still clarify.
Do we have any other discussion about the pickleball plans for Gregory Park?
The other question I had was, I think something the mayor brought up about insurance. Is everyone comfortable with the changes that were made? It's still not evidently clear what the requirements are. I think it's still a little bit muddy.
It sounds like there's going to be an additional meeting between staff, the attorney, and the Pickleball Association to clarify those.
thank you, Mr. President. The question that they have is that when they do allow public to come into their rotation, that public person, if they get injured Is that on them or is that on the city? They don't want it to be on them, rightly so. I didn't want to make that judgment call. That's for the city attorney, and that's why it's over there. I would believe it's going to be, they're not a member, so I don't think it would fall underneath them, but again, I'm letting the city attorney make that call.
Mayor?
Yeah, just to clarify, so that people watching at home understand, when we do this type of thing with baseball, t-ball, with our YMCA, with community ed, that is the insurance is a requirement for
Right.
that. Same is the case with events. We require insurance for events as well. So this is standard operating procedure for the city.
Do we have any other discussion related to the pickleball plans at Gregory Park?
Hi, my name is Kent Johnson. I reside at 7011 Browns Lane in Brainerd. And as a tennis player, I guess it caught us somewhat off guard to hear all of the plans regarding Gregory Park and eliminating tennis courts and so forth. We're with a group that takes up 4 or 5 courts 3 times a week at least in the summer, and are quite surprised that we're going to lose our courts there entirely. Don't quite understand why there's 3 courts there now, why we can't just continue to share courts. In fact, pickleball players played there a couple times a week that I'm aware of. So I guess the whole eliminating the tennis courts entirely there, except for the 2, is somewhat of a surprise. So I'd really ask that you reconsider the whole program with tennis courts versus pickleball courts. I know the last money that was spent were for pickleball courts over in the northeast side, which obviously are, from what I've heard, nobody likes because they face east or west, or they're on concrete, or there's some sort of a problem with them. But I guess I'd be for just leaving them as tennis courts, or maybe putting in some movable nets for pickleball rather than totally eliminating them. So I guess that's all I've got.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
And I'm sure there's a number of other people that would probably go along with some of those same comments. Thank you.
And just so you guys know, we do have a 3-minute time limit, but you were
Okay.
totally spot on it.
Meg Douglas, I live at 9084 Delmar Drive, that's in Brainerd. Enthusiastic tennis player, have played for a number of years on the Gregory courts. And they've been well-maintained. We have a group in the summer of lake people that also join us and play tennis. Enthusiastic players, it builds a community, it builds support. Just hate to see those courts not be tennis courts. Right now, there have been pickleball players, they pull the nets down. I know it can be damaging to the courts, but they can use them for pickleball. And there have been other pickleball courts built. So there's been a tradition of tennis, who is the lawyer? John Fitzpatrick. For years, the Fitzpatricks live right next to the courts and have been supporters of the tennis courts. I'm sure they'd hate to see it turn into just pickleball. Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry Kellerman, I was here last month on this, and the only thing I'm going to say today is that we're going on the agenda for your meeting at the end of this month, your regular meeting, so that we can take a little more time to present to you in full documents and data to show why it is important to keep those as tennis courts and why it's not really plausible to make those into the pickleball courts that you're looking for, where you should be looking more openly to a full new set of pickleball courts similar to what they've done in Cross Lake and Ironton. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other discussion about the pickleball courts? Seeing none, we will resume this at our, yeah.
I move to amend item 3A to be access for members, LAPA members daily, or sorry, access to LAPA members Monday through Friday, 8 to noon. And then to also, to retain the section about allowing one court for the public.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion about that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, moving on to item 5B, discuss the banner program.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've modified our banner program to be in unison with what we've sort of done in the past. We've tightened up some protocols with that. And we are also going to be looking at working with one vendor to make sure that the banners are all in one unison, and we work with that banner company. We're also going to be looking at having those individuals come to us, and sort of like our memorial benches, it's X number of dollars plus the actual material. So it'd be, I think it's $150 for one banner plus the cost of that banner. The cost can go up or down, or all depends on the design. But one thing I want to turn over to Lisa is that one thing that I've noticed is that we don't have a lot of protocols regarding standard operating procedures. And so that is something that I want to just share or let Lisa talk to, and how we're doing that across the board in Public Works and also here in our Parks and Recreation.
So with our last meeting from January, when the mayor brought up the banner program, there was a lot of comments of the banner program not being sufficient, following guidelines, mismanaged. So I'm looking to set up, which I added to today's meeting, is the park board procedures for the banners from 1 to all the way through, I think it's 7, of the beginning to the end of the process of what banner program should be, just so it's standardized, that the operation would work a lot better. It would streamline, everything would be correct sizing. We would be able to look at their PDF file and send it to our one organization, or I think Digital Inc. is who I've been talking with, to put everything all in one. They would send us all the information, the check. They would fill out the program, the banner program form that we have, and then anyone in our office would be able to take care of it. They wouldn't need to question how the process works or who to talk to or any of that. So we're looking, starting as this one, among other things, to put into procedures.
And that's our new banner program. We might also look out to a couple vendors and to sort of get a bid process, if you will. And because we also use several vendors regarding printing, and would probably want to make that more a fair process. Would you like me to come back with a proposal from different bids, or just use our staff recommendation?
What discussion or thoughts do we have on that? Andrew?
I think it's great that we're starting to get procedures around some of this stuff, just so we have a process in place. It's really great. I don't have a strong opinion about the vendor we're using. I think, especially if, right, we're looking to them to do some of the organization and coordination, it's whatever y'all think is appropriate and not, like, there's not a high dollar amount we're dealing with, so I don't really care, to be honest. I don't know how everybody else feels, but yeah.
My request is that it's a business that's within the city limits of Brainerd.
Love that, yeah.
Jonathan?
Yeah, so I mean, as far as the design of the banners themselves, I mean, I think it all just kind of boils down to, you know, if they're handling the like logistics of getting all the assets and things like that too, you know, we'll have to just kind of see how much they're going to charge to actually design and develop and charge back to the city. I mean, I don't know if that's included in the cost of the banner, and then the fee is the rake. But I guess I was maybe not entirely certain on that.
Yes, thank you. So regarding the design, I just envisioned the vendor or the individual that is purchasing the banner is going to come to us with a design in PDF or whatever lingo is appropriate for clip art and all of that. I'm not, sorry, I know I'm really butchering this. So that's why we have standard operating procedures. And so either way, whatever we do, if the vendor wants very specific, we say, give us a design. If they just want, legs printing and then a phone number and their logo, poof, that's nice and easy too.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I guess if the vendor was coming to us with the designer, if we were putting it together for them, and that was part of the manufacturing, or not manufacturing, but the cost of building the banner. So okay.
Yes, yeah, they would send us
Okay.
their actual stuff for marketing.
Yes, Paul?
I had some just questions about mostly installation and removal. So my understanding is Public Works staff will still be doing the installation and removal. Do we want to, so I kind of see this a couple of ways. One, where we want to keep it open for the whole year if someone wants to purchase a banner like mid-year and have it installed, but I also don't want to put a huge burden on staff to have to go back and install banners throughout the year and kind of do this in one holistic thing where you guys solicit to advertisers or businesses to do it. We have like a cutoff date that says that you need to have your application for banner advertisements in by X date, and the installation will take place, whatever that is, May 15th, May
Right.
1st, and then have a specific removal date in here also to say, so Public Works staff can know that, okay, this date on the calendar is when we go out and install. We remove them on September 30th or whatever that is, rather than kind of leaving it open on a coordination aspect on when those are going to get removed and things.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what the board's thoughts are on that.
My thought actually is that is a great idea, mainly because it is really important for people's marketing dollars to know, how many eyeballs during this particular duration, so they can understand their value there. Yeah. ROI. Yeah.
And follow up to that, though, I would actually be on the opposite side, that I would be open to them being able to spend their dollars throughout the year with us if they want to do it afterwards.
Yeah.
Because if
Maybe
we don't take their
maybe
money,
it's just
someone
the
else will in
removal
the
date.
marketing dollars. Yeah.
Maybe it's just the removal date to say banners will be removed by.
Mike?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I think I like that idea, and then I'm just thinking, if I'm a person wanting to buy a banner, it's middle of the season, hey, I'm still gonna pay that because I really want it, and so we go ahead and put, if it's middle of the season, there is very specifically in the first paragraph, banners will be installed and removed during the season of the amenity. And really, that should be season of the sport. So like for pickleball, whatever the season is there, softball, baseball, the Baseball Association. And so I didn't want to get very specific, but we could use examples. If you would like to have a cutoff date, it's just during the winter, when you get in that cold season, it just destroys those banners very quickly. And so maybe we could, even a hard deadline during the program of the amenity or during the season of the sport with a hard deadline of October 1st or whatever. We look at that. We look at our staff schedule because they're going to be taking them down. We're going to be storing them to keep them secured. And then if they come back and do that again, then right. So we could put that verbiage in there that it's, again, it's for the season of the sport with a hard deadline of whatever date.
Kara?
I have two things. So to go along with that, I just want to make sure that like our staff time is being utilized. You know, I know you know how to tell, you know your staff, but like don't want to have them like putting up one banner and they're like running around all the parks and then taking down one banner. And so I do think we should have a couple cutoffs maybe like spring sports, winter, or like a spring and summer and fall or however you want to work that. But like, you know, racing to a park to put up a banner for one person who decides they want to give us, I mean, I appreciate the money, but that's my first thought. And then second, I think we should get bids from like three, or, you know, within city limits. And we have a lot of people who are really talented. I think it's only fair that we would give them a bid, have that opportunity. And we can say it's 2 years, or we can do 1 year at a time, or whatever you want to do, but I think it'd be just good to give them that opportunity.
Dave?
Yeah, so I just have a couple concerns about the process, and this isn't a knock on what we have here. It's just wanting to shape it better. I don't know how I feel about the park board putting together a whole package of what you want your parks to look like, and then just saying, have at it, put whatever banners up you want. I don't think that that's a smart idea. I think if you want to have a banner program, I think you should be very direct and specific about what you're looking for. So if there's a design standard or something that you want, I think now's the time to make that decision. I think there are places that it looks good. I think we talked about that for like baseball fields. I think that's a sharp look for baseball fields. I don't necessarily think that every structure we have will look good with just random stuff posted. I will also say that I've worked as a graphic designer. You are not going to get good quality logos from people. That's just not going to happen. So if the idea is we're just going to have these beautiful logos up on everything, it's just not going to happen. It's going to be low res. It's going to be grainy. That just tends to be the case. So working with the customer, much like John said, they're going to build in a cost for that stuff. I prefer the way it's written, that we should have them doing that, because what will bog it down is they send it to staff gathers everything up, we send it to them. I would rather that they work directly with the provider. That provider creates what it should look like. And then that way you guys don't even have to worry about it, because you've already pre-approved what that type of concept or look would be. But the other thing too about this is, one, I think the price is too low. I think $150 is too inexpensive for a banner. In the grand scheme of things, what's that going to pay for, right? What's the goal with this? Are we trying to recoup money for facilities? Because 10 banners at $125, that's nothing, right? That's not going to get you anywhere. So I think you need to look at that. I think you need to know what the value is, and then what the cost is, obviously. I would rather that we have some kind of set cost, knowing what our agreement is with the provider, rather than say plus whatever the banner costs, because then we're making too many variables, right? The agreement with the provider, we'll know what that cost of that banner is going to be. We built that into the price. That's the price to the customer. Then we go and we put them up. I also would look at this from more of a individual piece by piece basis. So what does the park board want to see banners on? What do you not want to see banners on? And then are there different styles that you're looking to have in different areas? So that we're not just going, have at it, here's the parks, here's all the stuff that we allow banners on, and then we just get what we get. I don't think with all the time and energy you've spent doing master plans and actually doing color schemes, I mean, you guys went through shingles, siding, like signs. I mean, the amount of work I've seen you put in, it seems silly to me to then go put whatever banner up you want. I think we need to be more deliberate with this and get the product that we want.
Sir?
I'm still with Dave on that one, because I do think, and a lot of this for me, promotion-wise, I think it would be local business wanting to have that, and not to knock anyone, but like local businesses are not going to have an incredible designer in their back pocket. So if we pick a vendor that's going to do the printing here, maybe we have an avenue where they can like, okay, hey, if you don't want to come up following our design standard, the vendor knows our design standard and they'll charge you accordingly, to build this. But I want to promote small business being able to advertise on there. And I think limiting them to, hey, you got to come to us with the design and not providing them with an avenue, we're not going to get what we want out of that. And then to pick a vendor that does follow a certain design standard, they'll be able to take the assets and build it for us. And I think that's maybe a better route to do it. Like, hey, we've picked this vendor, we like them, our costs are aligned, and they understand our design standards. So now when people come and they want to do this, if they want to pay to have somebody design the banner, our vendor is money. And they can just do it, as an outside deal, like whatever. I just need this to follow Brainerd banner design standards or whatever it might be. But to Dave's point, yeah, I do feel like it's maybe kind of unreasonable to have them come with their own design. And it does add just a little bit of friction to having people do this because they're not going to do all the extracurricular, and then they're just going to go, whatever. Like, I don't want to have to go through and talk to this person to make this, to have this done, to give it to them, to do the thing. And I think that's just too much friction for such a low price point.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying is exactly what will happen, right? And it's not a knock on anybody that has their logo. I love what people do with their businesses and their advertising, but most people are not graphic designers. And most of the time, they don't have the ability to get what they want. They want to work with someone to get it done. I think we need to make it as easy for them as possible, but there's a cost to that, right? And then additionally, it has to be worth it for the city. I think there's a big difference between walking up to a tennis court that has a real clean look to it, that also has logos, and walking up to a tennis court that just has random stuff on it. And I think it's more important for us to control that and look at it from a standpoint of what's the value to us, because it should be an added value, not a detracting factor. So if there's logos on it, cool. But that should add to what's there, not take from it. And especially for a really low price point. We need to set a price point that is, like, rule number one, know what you got, right? It's either worth people or it's not. And if it's not worth it to people, we'll figure that out really quick. But it's setting it low and then hoping to keep raising it is a bad way of doing business. We should figure out what we think that value is and set it there and adjust accordingly, as opposed to, okay, in 3 years, your price tripled. We don't want that. So
Right.
I just think we need to make sure we know exactly what we want before we dig into it.
And on the contract, Mayor, we do have the places that it's listed, which would be the adult softball fields, Buffalo Hills Park Youth Softball, and Buster Park. So it won't be, I'm good with those 5 locations, the 5 fields, 5 fields and a dog park. And they're all listed at 4x4. I think we need to stay with that same uniform size as well. Do we have any other discussion? Andrew?
Are our banners squares today? I thought they were rectangular. Am I totally?
That does bring up a good point. I think the 4-foot fence would have to be slightly smaller than 4 feet tall because of the cover on the top. So I think we were discussing 3x3.
Yeah, and I think this talks like 3x3 or 4x4. But I thought,
Square.
I don't remember them being square. I guess I'm not sure. I haven't been up to
3 foot by 4 foot, I think maybe.
not entirely sure, but we can adjust that.
And that could be something with the designer too, the appropriate size, whoever's going to design it.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We have the Brainerd Baxter Baseball Association. He's already measured all of these, and that, like at JC, it is a 4x4. At, I believe it was
Bain is the only 3x3.
is the 3x3 because it's a shorter fence and it's got that cap on it. So that would be a 3x3. And so I just want to clarify that. The other, like at Gregory, that would be the Pickleball Association. And then the baseball, Brainerd Baxter baseball would be at the JC and Bain. So that's why this is just for the other parks, that this would go out to vendors that want to have a sponsor, they want to put something up, and they would see that it's just for those parks. Because our agreement would be with the other associations to put up banners in those courts and areas.
So I like we kind of talked about a couple of things, but like more of a packet going out to these vendors or to these potential sponsors, more than just this piece of paper, and like letting them know what they're getting as far as like there are going to be this many eyeballs, there's going to be like maybe just like one more sheet. I'm not saying it has to be a packet, but like, you know, just more than this, because I mean, I would probably ask like, well, how many people am I going to impact with my dollars, or different things like that. So just even like a cover page that says that.
How many people play in each league?
Yeah, like how many, if you were to break down your dollars. Oh, yeah.
We send letters to go with the attachments
Okay.
to each one, so it's a full-page letter. I wish I would have had kind of something to show you. It's kind of a standardized letter, as I've been looking through past stuff, just to explain what the process is, this is how it works, and then they fill out the form and then send it back. But are you wanting something different than a letter to the business?
If you guys are already doing that, I guess I didn't know that was included, but I think as from like a business standpoint, that would be good information to have. That's.
Mike?
And Mr. President, it will indicate some of the benefits on there. You know, it's a cover letter introducing the project, your benefits of that, and just clarifying if you have any other questions, contact staff and email, you know, regarding the design, whatever direction we get on there also would be, you know, if you decide to go, the vendor, the sponsor goes to the company, the printer, or does that sponsor go to us and then we do that? However you would like that would be, you know, laid out in that cover letter.
I really like the idea of having the specific sponsors go to a specific vendor that we have, you know, given our design criteria to, and having them work directly and purchase the banner to be given to the city, so that we just have to coordinate from a staff level with that specific vendor that knows what the specifications are, rather than having staff have to make a decision on if something is appropriate or not, or meets our standards.
I agree with that.
Mr. President, so should our next step be back up a second and first we find a vendor that we want to work with, and we like find 3 quotes or 3 whatever we want, like people give us quotes, and then we let them know what we want, and then we're able to kind of do what Dave says, and then we have a standard of what we want all of our banners to look like, and then we can release this, and if we have to change prices, or we can kind of change that up before it goes live, and if it goes a little bit late this year and we don't have banners until summer, I don't know, then that's what it is. But I agree with Dave, and like, we don't want to go backwards or be like, oh, next year we actually have to charge $250 for one banner. You know, I think I agree with what Dave said and kind of.
Mayor?
Yeah, and typically, when people do this too, or at least in the past, we've done multiple years for people as well, because the banners last more than a year. So I just think getting the variables right, and I'm not a proponent of bogging it down and taking forever. I mean, this doesn't need to be that complicated, but I do think we need to get everything the way we want it ironed out quickly, figure out who the vendor is, figure out what they're presenting, and then not spend 3 years trying to nitpick what it looks like, but just saying like, that's great, go with it, let's go. And here's the one we're gonna go with. So, but getting all those details correct, I think, is imperative, because you wanna start this off so that it is a 3-year process and we're just done, we're moving forward, we don't need to worry about it, and then revisit it in 2 years when it's already functioning.
I think a direction for staff would just be to reach out to vendors, have them put together something that matches our park design standards using their own business as an example, and bring them to us. Or have those submitted to us, and it's just like, hey, this is how this is how my business would be represented on your softball field. I mean, if you want to have us promote your business as our sole vendor for this, you know, they can choose obviously not to put the time in to do that if they want, but give them the design standards of our park, what the color schemes are, et cetera, and then show us what your business would look like on our banner and how you would design it when other people bring their information to you
And what the cost
and
is.
what the cost would be to those folks, so that we can lay that out then. As the market changes, of course, we can adjust inside of our letter, but then set expectations for folks as well. So I think that would be the best course of action, just to be like, hey, you design it, show it to us. If we love it, you're in. That sort of deal. And then we're just going to send all of our business there. So I think that's the best. And then the pricing comes with it too. But I think that's solid.
Do we know what a good, you know, from a city standpoint, do we have an idea what a good cost point is or what the city's number should be? Talking to our marketing people, I mean, what is an adequate fee that you think
For like the actual creation of it or the
the
physical
actual like,
For the eyeballs, right?
yep,
Like,
product? Oh, for the eyeballs.
yeah, for
Yeah.
your
more
your
than-
advertising
It's
dollars.
more than
yeah.
150 for
yeah.
sure.
I mean, I'm used to seeing when we get sponsorship requests, 500 to 1,000. I mean, but that's for like a parade or something, you know. But I don't know if that's a legitimate ask. You know, I like Dave's idea. I mean, let's set it to what we think the value is, and then adjust from there. And if we don't have anybody that's buying banners, we know maybe it's a little bit too high of a price point. It might be a first year of like.
It's better to be,
Shock, and then-
honestly, it's better to be too high than it is to be too low. But you gotta remember too, the cost of the banner, okay, let's just say the cost of the banner comes back to $100, right? You, right there, the banner itself is worth $100. You then, your price point can't be 150 on top of that. It just doesn't make sense. Nobody could actually physically go do that. Exactly. So from a marketing standpoint, it just, that price point's gotta be somewhere.
We might be $150 into a loaded rate for staff to go out and hang up banners, honestly.
Yeah, it ideally, and again, this is just me. Ideally, knowing the value, right? Know what the value is. What do we
Just
perceive that value is?
just do some market research, check some other municipalities.
Mike?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is part of my role to do a price point, price analysis on all of our programs. And I indicated that I would do that after we get 1 year done. But if you want me to do that, I can quickly do that, because a lot of our, just at a first glance, a lot of our programs, we are way undervalue. If I just throw in staff cost to do a banner going out there, 30-minute drive, 30-minute back drive, you're already looking at an hour of staff time. So, but just so that at first, I thought when I saw the $150 that included the banner, but it's $150 plus the cost of the banner. But still, even a $150, to your point, would be very quickly added up. So I can do a quick analysis on that, and you'll see my Excel document, and it's it covers some very basic things.
I think that would be great.
Yes.
Dave?
Yeah, I'll stop taking up all your time. To your point, right? 300 is probably a mark, right? 250 is a deal, honestly. 250 for a banner is a deal. 300 is probably a mark, but it's going to depend on what the banner cost is as well. So find out what that is, work your way back from there.
Andrew?
Oh, I think Mike had.
I was just going to add that we could do like a sample. If we were going to be a sponsor, we'll make a 4x4, not actual, but just on a graphic design, and do this is 4x4, City of Brainerd logo, Parks and Recreation, for more information, call blah. And then we could have that in our cover letter, say, hey, this is an example of what our standard is looking like, clean verbiage, so forth, et cetera. But that will be probably something that we'll do also, just to help them keep it simple and move forward.
Yes.
Two things. One, with this potential vendor, I think I would be open to giving them a couple banners to not charge them for, as a way to compensate them for doing kind of spec work for us. at least to get folks interested, that might, right? Because I feel bad saying, hey, design a banner, even if it's your business, to hang in our parks. And like, they might not get it. So to say, hey, if you get this, we'll give you some banners for 3 years or something. And second would be seeing the list of parks, and with Dave's point that, hey, if these look better, they would probably fit in more places. Like, I wonder if we could maybe catalog other places we could have banners, like Gregory tennis courts, or could we do stakes in the ground by the splash pad? I feel like that would get a lot of people interested, right? You've got the bushes, have it between that, screening off the drainage pond. Right, are there other places we could sell ads in the summer on the boards for the pickleball at Memorial? Just if we have nice ads and we're going to charge a rate where we can make money, could we expand this to get more folks interested? It might capture a bigger variety of companies.
I would be open to that discussion later, but I think we just keep it with these few for year one and see how it works.
I think mainly because in this particular experiment, we don't know what they're actually going to look like. I think just yet, we're basically leaving it up to some creative genius to put together what our banner design standard will look like. We're just delivering them like what we want it to look like, and then have them spin it up. And so, if we know what it looks like, to Dave's point, potentially not a detractor, right? I mean, we function on multicolored, no design, whatever, just throw it on our fence for a long time. So it does allow us to just kind of start with this and let it rip. And then if we do, if the design standard does fit into more areas, I think to your point, it would be nice to have a nice expansive list and come up with more places to put it. So I think for now, I'm still okay with just softball and Buster Park, but just making sure that, long term, we're looking at other places to fit these that don't make them into an eyesore.
Okay, so staff will bring that back at our next meeting.
Correct. And could we add the Gregory tennis courts, the 2 tennis courts, to our banner program?
I
believe that would be all right. I guess it would. I mean, it all depends on how they look as they go up on those fences, but I don't think it would be that bad. Obviously, we'll leave the other 3 empty for right now.
Maybe a decision for the next meeting.
Yeah.
We see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, some concepts. Yep. But I am open to that since we've already got fence space.
Okay, moving on to 5C, Brainerd Baxter Baseball Association Agreement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just going back, do we need to make a motion if we are going to want, regarding the banner program, the company is going to go to the print shop, or the banner or the sponsor company is going to come to us? I just want to make that clear, that
If it were me,
banner-
logistically speaking, I think it would be best that we provide the information to the company that this is our selected vendor for this.
Right, okay.
You're going to get this rate, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to cost you this inside of the information. So I think that would be the best logistical sense.
We have consensus there.
Yes.
Thank you. So now the Brainerd Baxter Baseball Association, I spoke to them at the last meeting. It was a 10-year contract. We went down, the board wanted to go to 5 years. He was concerned about, his return on investment. And I said, at 5 years, this is what the board wants. We can, at the 3 or 4 year, look at reissuing another contract with him if he hasn't made up his costs for those scoreboards. And so that's where it is now, a 5-year contract with the Brainerd Baxter Baseball Association. So that is that's been actually adjusted.
Do we have any further discussion about the agreement? The insurance is property and liability insurance. That's approved by the city, naming the city as an additional insurance.
I think, was that one of the things that we wanted clarification on again on this particular contract, was the insurance? Because it was vague again. No? Okay.
If I
The
recall, it
Baseball
was just
Association is good with
the amount
all the
approved by the
verbiage.
city,
Okay.
not allowing them to choose the amount.
Okay, yeah, I just wasn't sure, because I know, again, that was the topic on both of these contracts was the insurance. Okay, very good.
And I saw the maintenance was updated as well. Yes. Do we have any other discussion?
Did we figure out how much one of these costs?
No,
No?
I know they're expensive. I did not go and research that though.
Paul, I did a little poking. I think it's about 20.
Per scoreboard?
Yeah.
And then the cost to get it installed.
Yeah.
So high tech is, they're working with high tech. And I'm glad they're,
Yeah, I don't know if 5 years is enough time for him to get his money back. But yeah, I mean, maybe we should look at, I don't know.
he was comfortable
Okay,
with
as
the
long as he's
aspect of that.
comfortable
We
with
would
it.
renegotiate and then
Okay.
go forward.
That is,
And
yeah, that's a lot of money.
I have to say, it has been Corey, the president, has been extremely cooperative, working with him. He's a professional individual, and it's just been really refreshing.
Okay. Move to approve the agreement.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agreement. Do we have any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to, it is 5D, award proposal for Buffalo Hills Lions Park parking lot project.
Yes, Lori, if you can scroll down a little bit more, we included the bid specs in this. That right there, that table, that is the bid specs that was sent out to all of them. And talking with the city engineer regarding the range of those dollar amounts, the two higher ones are outside of Brainerd Lakes area. And so if they did want to mobilize and come in town to do that, we just sent it because they are a big vendor. If they were doing another project in town, then their mobilization would be a lot lower. Obviously, they're not having another project in town similar to this, and that's why their price point was so high.
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree with Jesse's look at this. Anderson Brothers and Knife River, they're paving contractors. These types of projects really aren't their main sole focus. And so the top two prices, and then the bottom two are pretty reasonable. It's nice to see that, we had a kind of a produced set of drawings and quantities and things that were sent out to them. So that was my biggest concern, was what were they kind of bidding on, and are they apples to apples? And it looks like they certainly were. And so I would be comfortable making a motion to approve Pratt. I think that was a little bit right. Pratt's
Right.
Affordable Excavating.
Yes.
In the amount of $38,985 for the Buffalo Hills Lions Park parking lot project.
And I would be comfortable seconding that motion.
We have a motion and a second to award the project to Pratt Excavating. Do we have any discussion on that motion?
I have a question. We haven't talked about this for a while, so with that one entrance and exit, this is not my expertise, but like, is that enough? Considering people are used to being able to come in and out of the whole entire park, is that one little spot enough to get people in and out? And thinking how are we gonna grow grass or whatever we're gonna do? People are still gonna be driving the old way if we don't stop them from doing that. So is that enough surface area, or do we need to have another spot where they would exit? I don't know, I'm not an expert.
Mike?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. There isn't going to be, just going to be a parking lot turning in and backing up and then going back out that same entrance. So it's one entrance and one exit. What we're going to be doing on the other side, where it used to be that, we're going to be taking out that curb, putting in a normal curb, but we're going to be putting up a barricade just so that out of habit, right? They've always been doing that entrance and our exit. We're going to be putting up a little barricade just to let people know, and then redoing that sidewalk there. And on top of that, our parks crew is going to be sodding that area. That old driveway, we're going to be putting down topsoil and all of that. And then we're going to be not sodding, sorry, we're going to be spraying seed and getting that reseeded for grass. And then obviously roping that off so people don't play and walk on it and so forth, but yes.
That's like a wide enough entrance. It just looks small for like in and out. And I know I sound stupid, but I just want to make sure before we, and I'm not saying we need like another entrance, but like just making sure it's wide enough because that is like a small space over there. I live over there. So I mean, it gets to be very, and then people always park on the road there too. So just like planning for that, so there's like not accidents. But again, we just have to trust that you guys.
I mean, that entrance looks like it's like 25 feet wide, which is a pretty standard entrance. Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
looking at the
just
scale here, trying to
Okay, I'm not.
estimate it. And so that should allow two-way traffic if you have someone exiting while at the same
Okay.
time someone's entering.
Cool.
Definitely gonna slow people down, which is good.
Yeah, that is.
I don't think the 2 access points is a big deal, honestly. I think people will get used to it, especially if you barricade it off and
Right.
for a while until people get used to it. And the full height curb will also be a good barrier, a good sign that you're not supposed to drive there.
Right, okay, good to know. Just want to double check. We know that people drive on grass all
We
the
hope
time.
we don't have to
I'm
put
hoping this is
rocks
not
there like we
another
did at Gregory.
Park situation. Yeah.
Add a couple extra.
Andrew?
The other thing, Kara, the arrow for the coming out of Barrow, that's roughly where the playground's gonna go.
Right,
So that'll be a good deterrent as well.
yeah, but it's not gonna be up there right away. Oh, well, yeah, there is a playground there, that's true, yeah,
Well, we've got the money to replace it this year.
okay,
So we're moving it, which is,
yeah.
that'll help too. Only a select few people will drive through monkey bars.
Mr. Mayor?
When are these berms going in?
I know.
I see 0 berms. I see 0 berms.
You wanna berm around the parking lot?
I've seen this master plan. The master plan calls for berms. I see 0 berms.
Do the
Let it be
parking lot
noted
first.
that the
Well, I
people,
mean-
let it be noted that the people want berms.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, if we're gonna be excavating the parking lot, can that material be left on site rather than, usually the contractor will just take it and dispose of it. Maybe that material can be left on site and seeded / mulched along with the project in areas around the fields.
Oh, these.
Yes, I know that another project that we had, many yards of dirt were removed that could
Many
have
yards.
been, many yards. Could have had every berm in the city. So we are in the business of berms, folks. Let's capture all the dirt we can.
Okay,
Paul,
Can
with
we
that,
look at very specifically where those berms where you'd like those berms to go?
Why don't you get
Where
up?
the berms are shown. See those trees right there? See that U? Nope, up. See,
like
well, there
a
you go. You got right on it. That's a berm. Whole thing. Berm all the way up.
Yeah.
Up and around. Up. Nope. Up and around.
all those circles.
Up and around.
Yeah.
Up and around. Those are berms, buddies.
People would
I mean, so you could
sit
probably start building one. You're definitely not gonna have enough
No,
material.
I'm not saying that we need to build them all right now. However, we
We have
once
extra
again,
material.
We are once again removing the material that makes them. So let's not have that disappear this time.
Mike?
We will most likely have to go out to bid on this. That will be an excessive work for that contractor. And that was not in the scope, I don't believe. Lori, can you bring back up the scope of work?
It doesn't, I'm not saying that the berm has to happen today.
just to save.
What I'm
the
saying
material.
is, your master plan calls for berms.
Under their common excavation, maybe this is just something we can follow up with Jesse. That common excavation number likely includes like time to remove that material from the site and truck it somewhere.
Right.
And so if they do not have that trucking cost and they're just wasting on site, they might be open to a negotiation, leaving that 1,000 yards on site and just placing it. And whether that they place it in a form of a berm or that can all be part of the negotiation.
Right.
So I would just ask that Jesse just, if a change order, is needed, then maybe we need to have another discussion about it. But I think there's probably a good negotiation point with the contractor
Yeah.
that was likely gonna truck all that out, that's gonna be their biggest cost.
Right, I totally agree.
Capture that dirt.
Put in the
It's always better to leave it on site, Dave.
Andrew?
Mike, if we had a pile of dirt from this, do we have the equipment to make a berm later with staff? Or would we need to, right, like it could be, I'm not gonna say a side project, because that seems like a pretty big thing, but like, we have a skid loader or a bulldozer we could use to make a berm in the fall or something?
So going from what Paul is indicating, I think it could be a combination of that. If we get a dollar amount from the contractor, okay, what is your dollar amount to remove this dirt? Put that same dollar amount into making the berm and stop when you get to that point of your dollar point, and then we'll take it from there. Is that a good compromise? Good?
I mean,
approach?
it's not an extraordinary amount of work to shape it
No.
and things, and so I think most of these contractors are gonna be perfectly willing to leave that dirt on site and hopefully shape it to kind of how the final product will look like.
You get me a berm and I may retire. My work here may be done.
We need to can we get this done tomorrow? I mean, can this project be done tomorrow?
We can add
I'll grab a shovel.
We have, all right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, moving on, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Discussion, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.